Welcome back to Storytime Saturday here on SecretSpool. I'm Adam, and tonight's story is about one of those coincidences that feels so unlikely it makes you sit there afterward and wonder if the world is smaller than we think, or if timing has a sense of humor. This is a story about a solo road trip, a late-night knock on a hotel door, and a stranger who ended up connecting me to my past in the most unexpected way. Let's get into it. In July of 2020, I hit a point where I could feel my life turning into a loop. Same routine, same surroundings, same thoughts circling like they had nowhere else to go. Nothing was wrong in the dramatic sense. I wasn't in a crisis. I wasn't falling apart. But I felt stuck in a quiet way that's hard to explain to people who haven't experienced it. Like your days keep happening, but you're not really inside them. So I decided to do something simple and selfish. I took a solo road trip. No big plan, no itinerary, no group chat. No, we should all do this sometime. Just me, a car, and a destination far enough away to feel like a reset. I picked a small Texas beach town nearly 400 miles from home. It wasn't famous. It wasn't a bucket list spot. It was just different. The drive did more for me than I expected. There's something about hours of highway that gives your mind room to stretch out. You stop checking your phone every 5 minutes. You stop anticipating the next task. You stop rehearsing conversations you'll probably never have. Somewhere in the middle of that drive, I realized I could finally breathe without feeling like I was being chased by responsibility. Not even by real responsibility, just the mental weight of always being on. By the time I arrived, I already felt lighter. I checked into my hotel earlier than expected and dropped my bag in the room. Then I did what I always do when I'm somewhere new and trying to settle into the vibe. I headed straight to the lobby bar. It wasn't even about drinking. It was about hearing other voices, being around people without having to commit to them. That's where I met a young couple from out of town. They'd already been there a few days, and they had that relaxed vacation energy, like time wasn't something they were measuring. We started talking casually, and the conversation began for a very obvious reason. The guy had a massive wrap around his hand. It looked bulky and uncomfortable, the kind of bandage that draws your eyes even if you try not to stare. Since it was the week after the 4th of July, I made the obvious joke. "Please tell me you didn't hurt your hand with fireworks." He laughed and said, "That's exactly what happened." That was it. Ice broken. We talked for a while, where they were from, how long they were staying, what places they'd found that were worth checking out. Nothing deep, just vacation talk, easy talk. Before we split up, we exchanged contact info and loosely planned to meet later at another beach bar. It wasn't some serious promise, just one of those casual, yeah, we'll probably run into each other plans. Spoiler, we didn't. That night went in a different direction. I had dinner nearby, then took a rideshare to a spot my waitress recommended. One place turned into another. I chatted with strangers the way you do when you're on a trip, and no one knows you well enough to expect a specific version of you. Time slipped away quietly, the way it does when you're not watching it. By the time I got back to the hotel, it was around 4 in the morning. The next day, I moved slow on purpose. I spent a casual hour on the beach, not trying to do anything productive, just letting the waves and the heat and the open sky wash the mental static out of me. I grabbed a late brunch, wandered around a little, and decided I'd keep it easy that night since I was leaving the next day. I watched the sunset like I had nowhere else to be, picked up takeout, and got back to my room. By 9 o'clock, I was in bed, lights off, out cold. I was expecting a quiet night. Around midnight, loud banging on my door snapped me awake. At first, I didn't even understand what I was hearing. I thought maybe it was a neighbor, maybe someone confused, maybe the wrong room. Then the banging came again, heavy and insistent. I stumbled up, checked the time, and opened the door. Standing there was the girl from the couple I'd met at the bar. No greeting, no sorry to bother you, just pure confidence, like she'd decided this was happening whether I was awake or not. "We're going to a party," she said, "and you're coming." Half asleep, I should have said no, but something about the spontaneity of it and the fact that I was on this trip specifically to break my routine made me shrug and go with it. I tossed on swim trunks and a hoodie and met her outside. A few minutes later, her boyfriend pulled up and we climbed in. We drove for at least 20 minutes, long enough that I started wondering where we were even headed. Then we pulled up to a house with 3 plastic kiddie pools in the front yard. She looked at me like this made perfect sense. "Yep," she said, "this is it." Inside, the party was small, like fewer than 10 people small. It wasn't wild or chaotic. It felt improvised, like someone started the night with a plan and then half the plan didn't show up. There was a foosball table placed where a kitchen island probably should have been, and people were kind of drifting around in loose clusters. I met the host and, out of habit, slipped him some cash. I've always felt weird showing up empty-handed, even when nobody asked for anything. Then I parked myself near the foosball table and tried to look like I belonged there. That's when a girl walked up and asked me to grab her a drink. As we stood there, she held up her phone and leaned in closer, lowering her voice like she didn't want to be obvious. "Don't look," she whispered. "But does that guy playing foosball look like this?" On her screen was a dating profile, and the photos were clearly of the guy across the room. The problem was, he looked younger in the pictures, like noticeably younger. Not good lighting, younger, more like years ago, younger. She told me it was her first time meeting him in person, and you could see the disappointment settle in on her face. Not explosive anger, just that quiet letdown that happens when someone realizes the person they were sold isn't the person who showed up. To cover the awkwardness, she started a standard conversation. "Where are you from? What brought you here? How's your trip going? Everything feels weird lately, doesn't it?" Normal, safe topics. And with nothing else to do, I engaged. When she asked how I ended up at this random house, I told her the truth. My version of it anyway. "I got kidnapped by a couple from my hotel." She laughed, genuinely, and for a moment the tension lifted. That's when I noticed her accent. It felt familiar, like something I'd heard enough times to recognize, but not enough to place instantly. I asked where she was from. "Minnesota," she said. I paused. "My ex-girlfriend is from there," I said, mostly as a throwaway comment. She blinked, like the conversation had suddenly become more interesting. "Really? What's her name?" I gave her my ex's first name. Without hesitating, she said the last name. It hit so fast my brain didn't have time to soften it. I was hundreds of miles from home, in a random beach town, in a random house, with a handful of strangers, and someone I had just met casually knew my ex well enough to complete her name like it was obvious. I actually said it out loud. "No way." She started laughing too, not at me, but at the absurdity of it. Then she explained they went to college together, same graduating year, same dance team, practices, performances, all of it. She even invited me out to the balcony so we could keep talking without shouting over the room. Standing out there in the warm night air, I felt that surreal sensation of reality bending a little, like the universe had picked up two completely separate timelines and tapped them together just to see what would happen. Eventually, she offered to drive me back to my hotel. She stayed the night but had to leave early for work. No drama, no expectations, no "let's make this a thing." Just a strange and gentle connection that appeared and then moved on. Later that day, she texted me a photo. It was her and my ex together on their college dance team, matching uniforms, big smiles, proof that the connection was real and not just some wild misunderstanding. I stared at that photo for a long time because the odds of that happening felt impossible, but it happened anyway. And the older I get, the more I realize that's one of the quiet lessons of life. You can plan 1,000 things, but the moments that stay with you are often the ones you never could have predicted. Sometimes coincidence isn't a sign or a message. Sometimes it's just a reminder how connected the world really is and how the past can surface in ways that are gentle, strange, and completely unexpected. If you've ever had a no-way moment like this, where timing felt almost unreal, tell me about it in the comments. And if you enjoyed this Storytime Saturday, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because SecretSpool has a new story for you every day. See you in the next one.